Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jerry, and thank you for joining us today. And just about 5 minutes ago, my best friend David just sent me a message through Line and told me that wish me luck on the final exam. And I really like this because getting this message is just like getting a hug from him. Even though we are not in the same places, I'm still able to communicate, share my feelings and photos, videos with him instantly. So there you have it. Today, we are going to talk about technical part. This, smartphones. It's certainly the largest inventions in our generations. And it does not only change how people communicate, but also it affects tons of things in our daily life. Not only we can use it to make phone calls, but also we can use it as a camera, a video recorder, a calendar, a calculator, a media player, a gaming device, and a personal assistant. It puts so many different things in just one small, compact device. What's the powerful things? And with the smartphone become more common and popular, some weird things happen. For example, we text, we go through email, and we play games in a meeting or a class. And when we go to the concerts, we film it with our screens and look it and watch it through our screens. And when we go out with our friends, we sometimes don't even look at each other. We just look at our tiny screens on our hands. And finally, at the end of the day, when we are going to bed, we still hold our phone in our hand. Wow, it did change a lot of things, doesn't it? And how does a small device change the world? So, this is the point we would like to talk about today. And today we're going to look at smartphone from 3 different angles. First, the evolution of the smartphone, and second, some facts and figures about smartphone, and the last, the problems that smartphone brings to our life. So let's see what makes a smartphone a smart cell phone today.
Believe it or not, the development of smartphone is 21 years. And with the technology developing exponentially, the smartphone becomes more powerful and useful. The evolution of smartphone starts from the IBM Siemens. Which was introduced in 1993. And it was part mobile phone, part PDA, part pager, and part fax machine. And it even included apps like a calendar, calculator, and address book. And in the time during 1994 to 2001, there was not that much change on smartphone, but in 2002, the Palm company released Palm 1, which was equipped with a full keyboard, and it was also the forerunner of the BlackBerry. However, in 2007, a whole new concept was first introduced to the mobile industry. The keyboard of the smartphone was taken away. Apple incorporated launched iPhone, which was the first smartphone used multi-touchscreen and iOS system, and changed our way of using smartphone from the day on. Then, in 2008, to compete with To compete with the iOS system, the Google and many companies released the Android system and came with the first Android phone and Android smartphone, the HTC Dream. With the innovation of smartphone, it changed our lives drastically. For example, we can take photos, surf the net, send emails, and download apps or games through this tiny device. Actually, the smartphone is just a mini computer, and it truly makes our life more convenient. No wonder more and more people use it to work or even have fun. And so, how many people use the smartphone exactly? Let Jerry tell us some numbers.
So in this part, we're going to tell you some facts and figures about smartphones. So we all know that smartphones are very popular and common now, but what's the exact use rate of the smartphone users around the world? According to the data we found, there are over 80% of the people now, this is 80% of the people now use a cell phone in the world. And from that 80%, there are over 62% of the people now use as smartphones. And there are only 24% of the people now use the feature phone, which is old. And yes. And to put it simply, it just means that there are 3 out of 7 people in the world owns smartphones. That's really a lot of people. And with so many smartphone users, how does we use the smartphones? Take a look at this graph. We spend most of our time going to websites and social networks. You can see that there are version 2. And sometimes we listen to music and play some games. However, an interesting thing I found is that we don't use our camera that often. And although in every smartphone commercial, we will definitely see that its camera being discussed, despite what manufacturer it is. It's kind of interesting fact. And as we mentioned before, there are a lot of smartphone users. And there's no doubt that there are going to be a lot of different brands and models. And sorry, really is it? And this is Samsung. There has 30% of the total global smartphone market shares, and it comes by Apple with 40% of the total market share. And other companies such as HTC, Nokia, and Sony doesn't have that much shares on the smartphone markets. In fact, the shares very close market share numbers now have 4% in the global market shares. I'm sorry about the numbers. We didn't notice that before. And you can tell that Samsung and Apple are the biggest smartphone manufacturers in the world. And with these 2 smartphone giants, it has caused some problems about patent. So let's let Andrew tell some problems about smartphone costs.
Thank you, Jerry. With the increasing rate of smartphones usage, there are more and more problems come out. Here we can divide it into 3 aspects. Today we are going to talk about the patent lawsuit, health issue, and social relation. The first part, let's discuss something about the patent lawsuits between those smartphones companies. To pursue more profits, every company spares no effort to develop new functions of their products. However, some of these functions are quite similar, so this leads to many patent lawsuits, or we can call them patent wars. Actually, there are still many similar case between other smartphone companies. But the fact is, Apple is always the center of patent wars because it's the first company that introduced the great smartphone into this market. So that's the reason why other companies always regard it as their main rival. And the next part I'm going to talk about is the bad impact which smartphones bring to our health. Most directly, using smartphones too much will cause nearsighted. And what's more, using tablets or smartphone may also develop long-term problems with our fingers and hands. Because of using touch screen, mentioned this, it will hinder our fingers from building up the muscles needed for writing. So it's quite dangerous, really. And last but not the least, I'm going to talk about the influence which smartphones make on our social relation. Now, fast forward to about 2007. Just imagine that the time smartphones hasn't become that popular. Some of the things we do with our devices now may seem to be weird and maybe disturbing at the time. But in only a few years, people have come to seem familiar very quickly. All of this become part of our life. Here is a quick example. Please look at the picture. This is the picture the President Barack Obama and his family. Can you tell the difference between these two pictures? Yes? Good. In 2009, you can notice that people still pay their attention to the speakers. But in 2013, they didn't. Why will this happen? What happened to this picture? To this question, I will say that the answer is the little devices in our pockets, what we call smartphones today. You can't deny that they are so psychologically powerful. They don't only change what we do, they change who we are. With smartphones, people tend to sacrifice conversations for mere connection. But you know, connection online is not enough to keep human relationships. Human relationships are something that's rich and demanding. It takes time to manage it, but we clean them up with technology. Conversations we need are almost replaced by some tweets and little sips. But you know, these tweets and sips don't really help for our social relation. They don't really help us for coming to know and to understand people around us. Only when we, through the conversation, can we learn how to get along with others and how to get along with ourselves. So being neglect of conversations can be really matter because it makes us become estranged. It's just like the feeling that we are hiding from each other, even as we are all constantly connected. Well, due to the convenience of smartphones, more and more people have their own smartphones nowadays. But the problems behind smartphones are most people always ignore. So in my opinion, how to use our smartphones wisely is the most important session that everybody should learn. So why not put away your smartphone for one day, go out and have fun with your friends. Because we should get along together, not alone together. And that's all for our presentation. Thanks for your listening. You are all a great audience. And the next part is the Q&A section. So if you have any question, please raise your hand. No question?
Do you have smartphone?
Yes.
How often do you use your smartphone? And what do you use it for?
Always check message, but when we plan this, prepare this presentation, we try to cut down the usage of our smartphone. Yes.
I just so surprised that by your graph you mentioned the Samsung take the biggest part of the smartphone.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a
Where's the status?
statistics is about the whole world or just in Taiwan?
Whole world.
The whole world.
About the
Because
smartphone.
seems in Taiwan.
Taiwan is not.
Yeah,
not
yes. Apple is bigger than.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.